Hey guys, good morning. First of all, this is what I look like in the morning without any makeup, without any eyelashes on. I think you guys might have seen in my post recently that I got so anxious a few weeks ago that I picked off all my eyelash extensions. So I have eyelashes, but they're like really light. You can barely see them because I've just had eyelash extensions for like 2 years. But anyway, I was thinking to myself this morning, I have something on my mind, something that I've experienced over the last few weeks that I want to share with you guys. And hi to everybody watching the replay, by the way, because I know that most people watch these videos on replay, especially when I do them, because I never have them planned ever. I just say, I'm going to get on and talk about the thing I want to talk about right now. So, but I was thinking, I can't get on video until I have my makeup done. And I was like, you know what? No, this is a personal challenge. This is me. I'm going to get on. I don't even have chapstick on, you guys, right now. Like, nothing. No facial moisturizer. My face is freshly washed. Teeth are freshly brushed. I have my morning juice, which has, like, superfood greens in it and all kinds of stuff. And anyway, so in the last few weeks, I've experienced this major shift and a lot of stuff from my past bubbling up that has made what's happening to me now make so much sense. So I'm hoping that by sharing this with you that something comes up for you that can help you have a similar shift if you need that in your life. So growing up, and maybe people that are in my past that remember this about me are watching. Maybe my mom's watching, maybe some people I went to middle school with are watching, high school, don't know. Growing up, I've always thought, actually in the last probably 10 years, especially during my business, I've always thought that my zone of genius, so to speak, was writing. You guys have read a lot of my stuff, you've read a lot of my posts on Facebook, and most anybody would say, wow, that's amazing. But the thing is, it takes me forever to write. It takes me forever, and by the time I'm done, I'm like so wiped. I'm like, oh, it's so hard. Like, it doesn't come naturally to me. What does come naturally to me is what I'm doing right now. Just talking. When I'm not thinking about what other people are thinking about me, and I just flow from what's inside, I can piece together a pretty darn good sentence or two, And I started to think, so I've had this shift that, hey, I can't decide whether I want to call it a shift or an epiphany. Don't really care. It doesn't matter. This just change that's happened. Why I've realized that I'm good at talking. I'm actually much better at talking, even though I'm stumbling. It's first thing in the morning. I'm going to stumble over my words. Whatever. I'm giving myself grace. I'm really good at talking, and so I was like, why did I think it was not that for so long? Like, why did I think that I don't like speaking? Why did I avoid doing live videos? Why did I avoid, being more present in my community? Why did I avoid that so much? Because I started to think about things that had happened in my past, and I'm reading the book, The Big Leap, and it's called The Big Leap. It's a super good book, and it talks about figuring out what your zone of genius is and what thing makes time stop for you, what activity in your business only you can do, and things that light you up. And I realized that whenever I go on live videos, when I do live Q&As and Working Home Heroes, when I do podcasts, interviews, things like that, time flies by. Now, there are certain times where it kind of drags by because I'm just not feeling it. So those are obviously exceptions to the rule, but usually when I'm in my element, time flies by and I love it. And looking back on certain things in my past, and especially if Mom is watching, she's going to be like, I told you so. She loves it when she gets to do that. She loves it. She always reminds me of the story of when I was walking on the beach. We were walking together on the beach. My grandmother used to have a house very close to the beach. We were there all the time when I was growing up. And I had this plastic microphone from McDonald's. And it was probably, I don't have both hands right now, but probably it's taller than my face. In my mind's eye, it was this huge microphone. And it had no cord. You just talked into it, and it made this funny, echoey sound or whatever. And I love that thing. And so my mom said I took it to the beach with me. And I don't know if this was just a one-time thing or if this was an often thing, but she said I took it to the beach, and I just walked. When we were walking down the beach, I would just walk up to random strangers and ask them questions. And she tells me now, she's like, when I see what you're doing now, I always think about that because I kind of just knew you're going to be in broadcasting or be in some kind of thing, and the job I have now didn't exist back then, so that's probably why she wasn't like, hey, you're going to be a blogger, or hey, you're going to be in media, or whatever. and you're going to help people. And she didn't know, like, I didn't know. Working at home wasn't even a figment of my imagination until I got fired in 2011. And so, yeah, I mean, so much of that stuff got stifled because of what stories we allowed into our lives after that. So that's one story that bubbled up for me in this realization that I'm better at speaking than I am at writing, because it lights me up and fuels my fire, and I need to do more of it, even if I have no eyelashes on. Then the second story was, I was probably around that same age, maybe 7, 8, 9, and my mom bought me a tape player with a recorder and some blank tapes. And this tape player has a microphone on it. And she says, you talk all the time and you love to hear yourself talk, so I bought you these tapes so you can record yourself talking and listen to yourself. And that bubbled up for me when I had this realization that, hey, maybe I like talking more than I like writing, or that I'm better at it. That's my actual zone of genius, and I've been resisting this whole time. I remember having a karaoke machine, and the best part was the microphone, not the songs. Just having a microphone, being able to talk. And I still, to this day, don't love the idea of getting up on stage and giving a presentation. I do much better live video. I do much better with Q&A when people ask me questions, and I can just answer them live in the moment when things are fresh and relevant, and you know they're relevant because somebody just asked you a question, so you know that's what they want to know. And whereas in my mind I have this idea of when I give a presentation that, sure, I can do tons of research ahead of time, but nothing is better than being able to answer people's questions right there, right then. And so I really feel like I resonate most with that kind of setting. And I love interviews, I love interviewing people, I love being interviewed, I love being able to answer relevant questions right there on the spot. I just love that. But I started to wonder, I'm like, okay, so I'm rediscovering this love of talking and getting over these stories that I've been telling in my head about why, writing is my forte, why I should hide, why I shouldn't be on video, especially without makeup. And so I started thinking, like, why did I stop believing that this was my thing? Why didn't I go for the things that I wanted to do? Why did I become quiet? And I started to think, okay, what happened in my life that made me be quiet, made me think that nobody wanted to hear my voice? I've never loved my voice, whatever. Maybe it's because I listened to it in a recording, because you hear it differently up here than you do in a recording. And so, but then I thought back to middle school, and people would tell me, like, oh my gosh, you're so enthusiastic, you're so chipper, like, it's annoying, like, it's so annoying, because middle school is when people were going through so much stuff, and they had a problem getting out of bed in the morning, and they were groggy, and they were going through growing pains, and so it annoyed them when I was happy and perky in the morning. It annoyed them. And so in my mind, I'm like, okay, this isn't cool, like, I'm not going to be accepted if I'm enthusiastic and excited and talkative and, cheerful, I guess. Chipper is the word people use a lot. People won't like me if I'm like that. And so I feel like subconsciously I suppressed a lot of that. And in high school, it was kind of a lot of the same thing. I mean, I had my core group of friends that, appreciated me for who I was. But at the same time, I felt this inclination to just not get too excited about stuff because they're going to think I'm weird, not completely geek out over something that I'm just super excited. It's the same thing in college when I was getting excited about going to Germany for a year and other people just didn't really get it. It was the same thing when Ben and I were going to Ecuador or South America for a year and people didn't really get it. I felt like, okay, let me just be quiet because I don't want people to think that it's all about what people think, and that has really come to light for me in the last few weeks, especially since I went to Colorado and, tried some new strains of THC. I'm sure you guys read my post, but it really does expand your mind and help you see things clearer. Not saying that you should go and try the first stuff you can buy off the street. That's not what I'm talking about. You have to be smart about it. It's a tool, not something to just try recklessly. I've made the shift away from, I believe writing is in my zone of excellence. I can do it very well, but it is not energizing. It does not stop time. It makes time go by slowly. And so my zone of genius is talking. It's doing this right now. Without makeup, without lip gloss. My lips are borderline chapped right now because there's nothing on them. I haven't worked out yet. I literally got up less than an hour ago, and I just felt like, you know what, instead of postponing what I have to say until I have makeup on, that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever thought right now in this moment. I feel like that's the dumbest thing I could think. Just get on and say what you have to say because somebody out there needs to hear it. And so I'm wondering, what was it that you were doing when you were 5 and 6 years old? Were you walking along the beach interviewing people randomly like me? What was that thing that you did with reckless abandon and you didn't care what people thought? And then what happened to make you care? And what's stopping you from stopping caring right now? Because somebody's always going to have something to say about who you are and what you do. And the thing is, if you're not doing that thing and nobody's saying anything about it, then you're not doing the thing. You're not doing anything. Nothing is happening. And so when you have people come in your life that are haters, that have, things to say that might make you feel bad, like, just remember, they're coming from a perspective, they're wearing some dirty lenses, right? They're looking at you through dirty lenses on their own life, and they're projecting. They're seeing something that's wrong with themselves, or they're seeing you fix something, and you're living your true self, and it bothers them that they're not doing that. And so they have to say something to you, negative, and the reality is, I used to think more practically about this and say, oh, well, they just have nothing better to do. So just think about what they're spending their time doing, and that's being mean to you. What does that say about them? And the fact that that's what they're choosing to spend their time on. So that's a practical way to think about it. But then the reality is, like, you can also feel a little bit sorry for them, and that's not really a good time. Feeling sorry for people, it doesn't help them at all. But the best thing you can do is to just keep doing what you're doing and not be quieter, not stifle your enthusiasm, not geek out over something, not do the Facebook Live when you feel the most strongly about what you have to say until you have makeup on. Like, not do those things because I think that's going to be the thing that pushes them the most. That's what they need to be, is you continuing, hey, put a cork in it, dog. Bubba's getting excited to go out today. Be who you are. Do your thing shamelessly. Like, I cannot believe I ever listened to people who said I was too enthusiastic or too chipper, too happy in the morning. Are you kidding me? And so my whole life, I can't say my whole life, but especially in recent years, I've told a lot of people, I'm like, I'm just not happy in the morning. I'm just not happy in the morning. Why not? What can I do to change that? I have so much power to change how I feel in the morning. So coming on this video has put me in a much better mood just because I've gotten out what's been floating around in my head and gotten past those obstacles of, hey, I got to do this, this, and this before it's acceptable to go on live and talk about this, because people aren't going to take you seriously unless you have magnetic eyelashes on. That is bullshit. I said it. It's bullshit. And you know it. You know that there's no better word for that hunk of garbage than bullshit. It is what it is. And so I'm shamelessly saying that to you right now. I have no worries about what you guys are going to think because I said the S word on live video, whatever, because it's relevant. It's relevant and you know it. So if there's something inside of you that's like twitching right now, it's like, oh, she's doing something wrong because she said she could use a different word. And I'm like, no, get over it. Get over it. That's what I'm telling you to do. Is what I'm telling me to do mostly. Is to whatever that thing is that's holding you back or that's making you feel like, uptight or like you can't fully express yourself. Get rid of it. You don't need it in your life. It's holding you back. So my challenge for you is to consider, who were you when you were little? What kind of stories can you remember about things you used to do that your parents were like, oh, that makes so much sense. So see if you can look back on your life and connect the dots. Don't stifle that stuff. I was talking to somebody recently. They're like, I've written out of my history everything that happened in childhood. And for a while, I realized I've been doing the same thing. I'm like, it doesn't matter, who I was then. It doesn't impact who I am now. But those positive moments, walking on the beach when I was just gleefully asking people random questions on the beach, that mattered. The excitement I felt for the things that I cared about in middle school, even if people told me that I was being too chipper or enthusiastic, that mattered. That kind of stuff matters. And so, yes, the past doesn't define who you are now, but there are pieces of your past that will make a lot of sense about what you're feeling, how you're feeling, and that kind of thing. So that's just think about it. There's no perfection, there's no right answer. Just start thinking about it and see where it takes you, and know that what other people think doesn't matter, because there's going to be some people all the time that just don't agree or think that it's stupid or think that I should have put on eyelashes before I came on Facebook Live video. Like, there's going to maybe people that are offended by that. I don't care, because I feel a lot better, and I know that the people who are watching right now that needed this message feel a lot better, and those are the people. Those are your people. And so we all have people that are going to want your light to shine as brightly as possible, and the people that want to stifle it out, like, I don't know, like, I'm not doing it for them. So, but maybe if they stick around and listen anyway, then, you know, they'll get something out of it. You know, they'll realize that the light isn't blinding them, the light is showing them the way. So that's why you need to let your light keep shining, even if you feel like you have to put eyelashes on first, okay? Have a great day, guys.